So this is Transformers War for Cybertron Blaster. We will start off by having a look at the front of the figure, the side of the figure, the back of the figure, the top of the figure, and everybody's favourite, underneath. Let's have a little look at Blaster's head. I think Blaster has quite a nice head sculpt. There's a few different colours going on there, and his eyes are actually painted a sort of metallic blue as opposed to any light piping. But the detail is quite crisp and clear, and the paint has been well applied. There's no smudging or anything. In hand, the Blaster feels okay. He is quite chunky. He doesn't feel overly cheap or plasticky. He does feel quite boxy and rigid. And at first glance, the joints are quite stiff. The only thing I have found is these little speakers on the legs do like to spin around at the slightest hint of a touch. The painted details on him are quite nice. This yellow chest plate, I believe, is painted with a tamper-graphed on Autobot symbol. However, I think, if we zoom in, I think that Autobot symbol is slightly on the wonk. I think it's slightly rotated by a few degrees, but at first glance I don't think anyone's going to notice. But the colours of Blaster and the details are quite nice. On the back there's quite a lot of holes and bits and bobs like that, but that's pretty normal. Who wants to look at the back of the robot? There's some gaps in the back of the legs here and on the inside of the arms, but nothing really stands out from the front, which is the important side to see it from. Let's have a look at the joints. So his head will spin all the way around. It will move forwards and backwards slightly. The arms will spin. They will also extend out to the side. We have a bicep twist and a bicep lift, which you can see there. And also the wrists will turn inwards slightly, but outwards a lot, as you can see there. So we have a slight amount of inward tilt and a lot of outward tilt. I think that's more to do with the transformation. The torso will spin all the way around at the waist. And if we just move his arms a little out of the way, he can do the splits quite easily. His legs rotate at the thigh. They will kick back a fair distance and kick forward. The knee will go 90 degrees. It will not really overextend forwards. And when it comes to ankle movement, we have this rock here, which I believe is more to do with the transformation again. But they are quite nicely stiff. They do feel quite nice. The toes also will move in a touch, but again, this is more to do with the translation. This ankle is not as stiff. This one's actually a little loose. Now, when it comes to features, standing a bit awkwardly there. Sort yourself out, Blaster. When it comes to features, he does have the opening chest here, which it can look like he's almost pressing himself with his own finger. He can finger himself here and press the button to open the chest, within which we just have to transform Eject here quickly. Eject will fit into his chest cavity, allegedly. Maybe it's the wrong way up. There we go. He will fit in and close. Opens pretty easily. We were getting stuck. Okay, I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay, we're working now. Press the button and it opens. Close. Opens. Bit of a funny button this. It looks like it wants to go up, but actually it goes in. There we go. I am just an idiot. Look at it from the side. There you go. And you can see the inside of his hull there, the mechanisms and such. There's also some detail just inside there. I don't know if you can make that out. So that is Blaster's main feature. However, he does also have an accessory, and that is this rifle here. It's quite a big boy. It's quite nicely detailed. Some nice details along the barrel and stock, and the sight actually reminds me of Megatron's. There's also some plug ports for this, so it looks like you can plug. Looks like you can plug some other things to it. Into it, I should say, but he will hold that. Blaster can hold that quite easily. There we go. No worries about holding his weapon there. You might perhaps want to plug it into his shoulder, or one of the many other ports on his body, on his wrist, or maybe, if you're feeling daring, on the side of his leg, although I'm not sure why you would want to do that. There's multiple ports on the back as well. Don't think that one on the back of his arm works. Does it? It does. Just about. Falls out quite easily though. This bit here looks like a face. Anyway, let's have a look at Blaster in his alt mode. Okay, so here we have Blaster in his alt mode of a Ghetto Blaster, or boombox, or whatever you want to call it. Here he is from the front, the top, the bottom, the side, and the back. He is almost completely rigid. He looks a little bit wonky over this side somewhere. He's not perfect in the way that he goes together, but he isn't bad. Now, gaps and things from the front, he looks very good. From the side, he looks okay. From the rear, he does look a bit of a mess. There's a lot of gaps there, but not as bad as Soundwave. And we have the bottom here, which looks pretty much as you would expect. Now again, Blaster's main feature will work in alt mode. You can put your cassette tapes in there. However, these knobs and things on here are just purely aesthetic and do not twist or turn at all. This button doesn't work either, which is a bit of a shame, but there you go. Now when it comes to weapon storage, you are supposed to tab his weapon on the rear here somewhere, using this tab here, into this slot here on the hilt. Oh, nearly opened his back up. There we go, like so. You could obviously also plug it into any of these ports on here, if you so fancied it. Maybe you'd like your rifle on the side. My rifle does appear to have some hairs growing out of it as part of the moulding process, but I'm sure if you wanted to pull them off, it would be quite easy. But I don't see any ports on the front. This is a weird hole. I'm not sure what this hole is for. You can actually see all the way through that, and there's not one on this side. There are also these pegs, which we may be able to peg his weapon to. Like so, but again, if you do that, he's not going to stand. So that is Blaster in his alt mode.